Everyone please stand, and the Rotary Club of Pine Bluff is now being called to order. I do want to welcome everyone here today. My name is Tommy Brown. I am the current president of Rotary. Dr. Carolyn Blakely is our vice president, and she will be taking over next July. Remember, we voted. You weren't here, and we voted. I want to welcome all of our guests, especially our young guests. We've got so many guests, we just don't have time to introduce everybody. But thank you for coming for this wonderful presentation. Now, I want our special guest, Mayor Shirley Washington. Thank you, Mayor, for coming here today. We appreciate it. Let's give her a round of applause. New job. She's been here 10 days, and she's still here. Right? Okay, very good. I don't have any announcements. Jesse told me he wanted to move right on into the program. Everyone here knows Reverend Jesse Turner. I'm just going to turn it over to Jesse for our celebration for our Martin Luther King celebration that we've done every year for how many years, Jesse? 12 years. I'm going to turn it over to you. Jesse Turner.
Thank you, everyone, and good afternoon. We're glad to see everyone here today for this is our 12th year for kicking off KINGFEST here in Pine Bluff. And of course, I always like to tout this is the ICVR's 50th year celebration for being an organization here in Pine Bluff and Jefferson County. Half century, 5 decades. We're glad to be here. And our 33rd year for hosting the KINGFEST activities. Martin Luther King Jr. said, "Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others?" And that's what Rotary is all about, and that's why I'm proud to be a member. And that's what Martin Luther King was about service. And so we have people who serve our young people in this city, and we tip our hats to them. But today, since this is National Mentoring Month, we want to do something special before our guest comes and speaks to us today. So I'm going to ask one of our mentors to bring up a few mentees, one or two or three, and they have something they want to say to us today. Adrian has, how many, do you have anyone that's speaking? Two? Yeah, we got one. Okay, got one. So if you will come on up, Mr. Washington, if you come on up and bring up whoever you want to come up, and you all can kind of lead them through what they want to say in their own words.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name's Codney Washington. My first name is just like Rodney, only it's with a C. Don't ask me why they didn't just name me Rodney. That's a whole nother conversation. I'm a part of the Pen or Pencil program, and we work at Jack Roby as well as at Pine Bluff High. And it gives me great honor to recognize some of our students from our Pen or Pencil program. We couldn't bring them all, so we chose some of our most, I don't know the best word to use, our most characteristic students. But what we did, we sat down, I think at our last class period, and we had each student write out something about the program. And then we went through an exercise about public speaking. And I thought to myself, what place would be better to practice public speaking than at the Rotary Club, right? So with that in mind, we had 3 of our individuals who want to come up and speak and tell you a little bit about the program and what it has meant to them. And we're going to start with Christyle Smith. She's from Jack Roby. Christyle, give her a hand as she comes.
Good evening. My name is Christyle Smith, and I'm from Jack Roby Junior High School. I would like to tell you all about how great Pen and Pencil is to me. I really like this program because it has a great impact on my life, such as my grades and my character. I look forward to seeing them every Thursday and to tell them something new I've learned or I've done. And I really hope to continue to grow with them in this program, and I wish the best to me and my classmates. Thank you for having me.
My next student, young man, he's not big into sports, but he always feels like he has to prove himself because he's so small and he's in the 8th grade and he's challenged all the time. And he feels it necessary to prove himself, but he's a smart young man. And if I could ever get him just to focus on being smart, stop trying to prove himself, he will be the best he can possibly be. Give it up for Chandler. Chandler Rather.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Chandler Rather, and I am from Jack Roby Junior High School. To me, pen or pencil, you choose education or jail. Pen or pencil motivates me to be the best me possible, to make good grades, and to always think one step ahead. This program is a big deal, and I hope to be an example or role model student in this program. Pen or pencil is a choice. You have to choose what direction you want to go. Thank you for having me.
Now this last student, he surprises me. He surprised me even today. His name is Kason Blunt, and I'm surprised by what he knows. He knows so much. He even knows so many people in this room. And I can't wrap my mind around that, but he is a 3-sport athlete. He has aspirations of being a professional baseball player. So last student from Jack Roby is Kason Blunt. Come on up, Kason.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How y'all doing?
We're doing good.
My name is Casey Blunt. I play baseball, football, track. You can name any sport I can play. I joined Pen and Pencil. They selected me as a good student that can do something around the school to help out. The Pen and Pencil is a good thing to me. The Pen and Pencil helps you in a good way. It helps you because you can keep moving forward in life and keep achieving goals I want to achieve in life. They helped me because a lot last year, I didn't do a good thing last year. I was like doing bad things. I wasn't good for me. So this year, Pen and Pencil is a better thing to me because this year they helped me a lot because they could bring my grades up, do better in sports. I couldn't participate in sports more like that last year. So this is why Pen and Pencil helped me out. I want to thank y'all for having me here today.
Join me in a round of applause for all our students at Jack Roby. Now, we have one student from Pine Bluff High who wants to speak, and her name is Caitlin. Caitlin is the most outgoing, outspoken person I can think of at Jack Roby. She always has an opinion. So, next to the mic is Caitlin. Come on up, Caitlin.
Good afternoon. I'm Caitlin Peterson, a freshman at Pine Bluff High. I would like to tell you all what mentorship is to me. First off, a mentor, I think, is someone who has been through things and can use their experience to be a lesson to others and be able to help them the best they can so that person will not repeat the mistakes they did. And I think mentorship is a part of a safe place for people to express how they feel about things, and it won't be said to anyone else, and that they won't feel like that no one is listening. Thank you for having me.
Now, I've been blessed with the task of introducing our speaker for this afternoon. She has been a part of this community, I guess, for her entire adult life. And she has had a tremendous impact on this community, especially with our youth. During the time when I was a child growing up, she was a big influence on me. So I've always considered her to be my mentor, and her mentee. I would say that she instilled a lot in me. And the thing about her, she always had something to say. Now, as a child, you weren't always listening. And it wasn't until I became an adult and found myself doing things that were positive, that were good, and I had some degree of understanding, that I realized that it was the things that she instilled in me that I was practicing. I'll give you an example. She would always say, I don't care what you become in life, just do your best. And to add on to that, she would say, I don't care if you're a street sweeper. You should have the cleanest street in the city. And as a child, you know, I'm standing there and I'm thinking, oh man, that's a lot of sweeping. You know, because you're imagining this street with a broom. But and that's like planting seeds, because you don't really realize or benefit in so many ways what you learn as a child until you're an adult. So now I find myself trying to do my best, always trying to do my best, always feeling this need to succeed. And when I think about it, that's what comes into my mind. So she has spent the better part of her life in education, educating our youth of this community. Now she's moved on and she is our newly elected mayor, and she has a lot of cleaning up to do. But I think she's well fit for the job. So I'm looking forward to Pine Bluff having some really clean streets. I'll introduce to some, present to others, our newly elected mayor, Mayor Shirley Washington.
Get back up here, boy. Ooh. That's my boy. Thank you so much. To Reverend Turner, to the members of the Rotary, I guess I should say to all of the Rotarians here today, to all of our public officials, and then as I look around this room, I see so many who I recognize from an organization that I'm affiliated with, the NAACP. I see them well represented here today with the outgoing president and the new incoming president. So to them as well, to all of our public officials, and to all of my friends and supporters from throughout the community, but most especially to these young people from Jack Roby and from Pine Bluff High. I am honored to be your speaker here this evening on this, is it morning or afternoon today, on this kickoff of the KINGFEST celebration. This being the 50th year of ICVR. You know, that makes this man pretty old. He had to be a man before he started it, right? 50 years of ICVR, and then the 33rd year of the original KINGFEST. This is momentous. I would like to say thanks for having me as your speaker. I was impressed with these young people, especially the ones who talked about pen or a pencil, making that choice, pen or pencil. Because we want our kids to make that choice of that pencil, so penitentiary will never be an option for them later on down the road, because we want our students to be what? Successful. And I'm sure Chief Whitfield loves to hear that, because we don't need any more of our kids going in that opposite what? Direction. We want them to choose that pencil. And then I like what Caitlin had to say about mentorship. Every one of us, when we leave this place, should find some way to support or to embrace a young person, because they need good mentoring. And I'm thankful when I look at my son there, because he knows that even as I was raising my 3 children, our house was always full of other kids who were from down the street or in the street, because I was raising my kids and mentoring to other children at the same time. So it blesses my heart when I see that he's mentoring at Jack Roby and Pine Bluff High. I just say my hat is off to him. Job well done. Job well done. You know, when we think of Martin Luther King, most often we remember Dr. King for his famous remarks at his marches for jobs, at his marches for justice. And most of those speeches that we remember that come up first and foremost in our minds were those delivered at the National Mall in Washington, D.C. And I would dare say many of us sitting in this room today have been to some of those spots at that National Mall. Who've been to that National Mall and listened to some speeches there? Many of you. So you know exactly what comes to mind. He was marching, and this was a movement for justice, a movement for equality. But this did not only happen in other states, in other cities, not only in Washington, D.C., but these struggles for justice and for civil rights happened right here in Pine Bluff, Arkansas. We must recognize that the accomplishments of the civil rights movement would be lesser without the contributions of citizens of Pine Bluff. and that Pine Bluff would be lesser city without the civil rights movement. In the 19th century, Pine Bluff was a place of refuge for freed slaves where both black and white businesses prospered. Decades later, Pine Bluff became a place where the eyes of the world turned to watch students in the standing and in the sit-ins for justice. It saw courageous individuals tear down barriers that leaders across our state and region could not break. Pine Bluff is a place where homegrown talent changed our nation's music and culture forever, where Bobby Rush entered the Blues Hall of Fame, and James, we know him best as Jimmy McKissick, who learned from the piano of his mother right here in Pine Bluff, later went on to play at Carnegie Hall, and not only that, but he played concert piano for 3 presidents of the United States, born and raised right here in Pine Bluff, Arkansas. Pine Bluff is a community where a businessman named Wiley Branton Jones built one of the most successful streetcar networks in the nation and owned an estate that today would be valued at over $6.5 million. It's where Wiley Branton was trained to become a co-counsel to the group we know as the Little Rock Nine. It's a place where leaders like Henry Wilkins III became the first black senator in the state of Arkansas. It's a place where Irene Holcomb became the first black alderwoman in this city of Pine Bluff. These men and women broke barriers and entered public service to fight for equality. I see a number of young people here today who are helping to inspire the next generation of business in our community. I believe that investing in our students is the key to ensuring that our city finds success as we move into the future. As we celebrate this generation, we remember that throughout history, the youth of Pine Bluff have embraced Dr. King's creed, that the time is always right to do what is right. During the Civil Rights Movement, young people at AM&N College and high schools across the city formed Pine Bluff student movements to fight courageously for equal access to lunch counters, schools, and libraries, even when they faced expulsion, discrimination, and violence. At Woolsworth, McDonald's, and segregated businesses across the city, Pine Bluff students sat so that citizens across our community could walk towards the cause of equality and justice. They walked so that Irene Holcomb and Henry Wilkins III could make barrier-breaking runs. These leaders ran to lay a foundation for all of us to fly. Today, we honor the past contributions of civil rights leaders in Pine Bluff and around the country, but we also celebrate a man who looked towards the future. Dr. King dreamed of communities working together to solve many of our common challenges. And I believe that is exactly what we need to do right here in Pine Bluff, Arkansas today. But Dr. King understood that sometimes barriers stand in the way of progress. He said, people fail to get along because they fear each other. They fear each other because they don't know each other. They don't know each other because they have not communicated with each other. What is great about Pine Bluff is that we are a close-knit community where we do know each other. We know our struggles. We know our challenges. But I think it's time for us to face some very important truths. When a young person in a different neighborhood than mine goes to a school without opportunities to help them become college and career ready, that affects my child's success. When a business is good for me, but an office on Main Street closes, that affects my bottom line. When a family decides to leave our community for another community, it leaves all of us worse off. For us to truly create positive change in Pine Bluff, we must recognize that we are all interconnected, that our progress is shared, and that we must take on our challenges together. Martin Luther King Jr. said, everybody can be great because everybody can serve. You don't have to have a college degree to serve. You don't have to make your subject and verb agree to serve. You only need a heart full of grace and a soul that is generated by love. It is with this spirit that we must join together. We must join with our neighbors to take pride in our homes, to take pride in our streets, and all that we share in common. I encourage everyone in this room and everyone in this city to join us as we rise to move Pine Bluff forward. As Dr. King said, anybody can serve because anybody can clean up their street, read to a child in need, and plant seeds that will grow long into the future. I have some cards. Do we have those cards, Stephen? Do you all have those cards? Yes. Well, we want you to fill those cards out. Please complete those cards. That's a volunteer card for you to sign up. We'll use those cards to create a database where you're going to be listed in the area that you've chosen on that card to serve in your community. This is a movement where you're indicating on that card where you can be best used to help us move forward. Please answer our call to serve. My office will follow up with each of you who signs up with an opportunity to help us to become engaged in building a better, what city? I don't hear you. What city? A better Pine Bluff is our goal. In this spirit, let's make our Martin Luther King holiday not a day off, but a day on, a day of service. As we work together and hold each other accountable, we will once again create a community of opportunity for all. As I go to my seat, we must remember Pine Bluff, this is our city. Let us preserve it. Pine Bluff, this is our home. Let us protect it. Pine Bluff, this is Pine Bluff. Let us invest in it and love it back to prosperity. I know without a shadow of a doubt that if we join arms together, we can and we will make Pine Bluff the best city in America. May God bless each of you, and may God bless Pine Bluff, Arkansas, the city we call home. Thank you.
Great job, Mayor Washington. Sometimes I like to say people's maiden names and middle names to keep that history there. So I say great job, Mayor Shirley Moorhead Washington. Today begins our week, and we are just proud of these kids here, and I see Superintendent back there who is Dr. Robinson, who is over the Pine Bluff School District, who we're working with to get mentors. We continue to reach out for mentors. We need more mentors. We need 1 hour a week to help these young people. And that 1 hour a week can have a long-lasting effect on these young people here. We thank What's Next Pine Bluff for partnering with the pen or pencil program at Pine Bluff High. We're there working with you all. In 1967, 9 local African Americans in the fellowship hall of the Allen Temple AME Church on Virginia Street, they came together and formed the ICVR. Dr. Frank Bryant, Dr. DJ Albritton, Reverend Isaac Tate, Mr. Buck Goodrum, and I knew I'd forget some names. but I'll give it to you. But there are 9 African Americans. Robert J. Smith. These people form the group, and we'll put that information out so you all can have it. And it's been rolling along since then. It is now a 501c3 nonprofit. It is an organization, and I guess but ICVR is known across this nation because of the things that it has done, especially with these kids. So what I want to do this right now, those kids who are here, if you all would give them a special applause, would you stand, those who are part of the pen up here?
Well, now, that's an older person.
Thank you. These are our future leaders. Or you finna say something? Okay. These are our future leaders, and let us get behind them and encourage them as much as possible. Thank you all for coming, and we move forward from here.
All right. We want to thank everyone for coming here, especially you kids. Y'all have a lot to look forward to, a lot to live up to. Chief and I have been around for a long time, and I know that we both know hundreds who have not had the opportunity for the pencil and have received the pen. And we want those numbers to go down drastically. So I want to thank Jesse, who's not been here for, what do you think, Wanda? 78 years, maybe. Not that long. Mayor, thank you very, very much. Delightful speech. Thank you very much. And we want to thank you kids for coming. We want to thank all of our guests. This community is our community. We stand adjourned. Thank you.